Have you ever heard of storing meat for a year? Sounds crazy, right? Well, let me tell you a tale from the snow-laden peaks, where life was a test of endurance. The snow had just begun to fall when they butchered the last animal of the season. No ridges, no ice boxes, just centuries-old wisdom passed from elder to youth, and a need to survive the long, merciless winter. But here's the shocking part. That meat didn't spoil, not after a week, not after a month. It stayed edible for nearly a year. How, you might be thinking, sorcery? Well, not exactly. It was just plain good sense. See, before modern machines did the work for us, people had to know nature intimately, had to outsmart bacteria, weather, and time itself. And they did, using a method so simple, yet so genius, it's hard to believe it's been forgotten. Before we dive in, make sure to hit that subscribe button. Now let's get started. It began with smoke. But not just any smoke, cold smoke. Picture this, a low fire smoldering under a layer of moss and bark. Hardwood like oak or hickory, slowly releasing its sweet, pungent smoke. The real trick was channeling this smoky breath through a hollowed-out log, funneling it into a hidden chamber of hanging meat. You see, they didn't want to cook the meat, just cure it. At such low temperatures, the smoke's tannins, sugars, and salts interact with the meat's proteins, creating a protective shell against decay. Days turned into weeks. The meat darkened, hardened, and shrank, locking out moisture, sealing in the fat. It wasn't just about smoke, it was about slowing down nature's processes. Just imagine sitting around a fire in the dead of winter, sharing stories with your friends while chewing on some jerky that's older than your grandpa. That's what we're talking about. If that sounds pretty cool, wait until I tell you about what else they did. In the heart of the frozen north, other tribes had a different trick up their sleeves. Here, the sun seldom shone, the ground was perpetually frozen, and summer felt like a distant dream. But the people of the frozen north had a solution. They took advantage of the earth's icy embrace. Deep in the ground, far from the thawing touch of the sun, they dug pits lined with ash and charcoal. Then into these subterranean chambers went the meat, wrapped snugly in layers of tree bark. Nestled between aromatic herbs and spices, sealed with heavy stones, an earth refrigerator, a natural freezer. These mountain people understood that the cold, dark depths of the earth provided a stable temperature all year round, a reliable way to keep their food fresh. All they had to do was dig deep enough. And let's not forget about our desert dwellers, eh? When the sun beat down on the barren land, turning it into a sea of shimmering heat, they had their own ingenious way to combat the relentless heat and preserve their meat. They carved slabs of meat so thin they could catch the wind. Each slice became a natural canvas for a blend of herbs, spices, and sand. They rubbed these concoctions into the meat, leaving it to air dry under the merciless sun. As the water evaporated, the salt and spices formed a protective crust, pulling every drop of moisture out of the meat. It transformed into a leather-like sheet, compact, lightweight, and almost indestructible. And when they sliced it, each bite was a burst of flavor. Talk about a feast fit for a king, huh? But they didn't just rely on the sun's scorching kiss. Oh no. There were other tricks up their sleeves, techniques honed over thousands of years of living in harmony with nature. In the vast plains where bison roamed, they had a special treat for you. They took the fattiest parts of the meat, melting it into a golden pool and mixing it with pounded dried berries, crushed bones, and the brains of their prey. It was a thick paste, rich and dark, that tasted like pure primal energy. They spread it generously on slices of dried meat, rolled those slices into tight cylinders, and voila, you got yourself some pemmican. Now let me tell you, this wasn't just food, it was survival in a bite. Explorers who wouldn't have made it through the Arctic Circle without it. As for the rest of the meat, they treated it like a precious gem, wrapping it in the thickest animal fat they could get. Then tucking it away high in trees, safe from hungry critters and patiently waiting for winter's icy grip to loosen its hold. Now, this was no accident, my friend. Each of these methods was a testament to their understanding of nature's delicate balance. They knew that heat affects enzymes, that dryness halts bacterial growth, and that certain plants act as preservatives. It was survival alchemy, eh? Some folks today might scoff at these old-timey ways, but trust me, our ancestors weren't just survivors. They were bona fide geniuses. And don't think for a second that their knowledge has stood the test of time. It's just waiting to be rediscovered. We often think of ancient people as living in a primitive way, but they were true innovators. They didn't have fancy tools or equipment, just their minds and their hands. And to top it all off, some of these methods are so darn effective that archaeologists have found jars of preserved meat in ancient ruins. Thousands of years old and still intact. That's right, you can't say that about your fridge at home. Next time you toss out leftovers after a couple of days, remember this: your ancestors stored meat for months, even years, without electricity, without chemicals, without fear, and that knowledge isn't lost. It's just waiting for you to rediscover it. And speaking of rediscovering, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe, because here on our channel, we're all about unearthing these forgotten paths. We talk about everything from wilderness survival skills to ancient wisdom and off-grid living. So whether you're a seasoned outdoorsman or just curious about these forgotten ways, we've got something for everyone. If you want to learn how to build a survival kit for the modern world, check out this video over here. Or if you're interested in uncovering more of these long-lost traditions, click on the video over there. Thanks for joining me on this journey through time and nature. Stay curious, stay adventurous, and above all, stay alive.